Good morning. Welcome to Planet Mojo. I'm standing here by our pet cemetery trying to figure out what needs to be done this year in the North Pasture and the North Woods. This area right here I've been calling Walnut Grove. This was killed last year, the grass that was here, and this is oats, winter oats. This is going to be planted with prairie grass. I'm going to try burning it once it dries out, if it ever dries out. I'm going to try getting this all burned before I plant, but this will be this is going to be a variety of stuff. It's going to be some interesting grasses growing here. Here's our little bit of bluff exposed here. This rock ledge goes all the way around and way into our new land down there. And we cut back right to it along here to make this platform. But anyways, I got to get down into this North Pasture. I know there's at least one tree down over there, and it kind of looks, I don't know. There's at least one tree there and one tree over here that are on the fence. This is the pasture that the horses go into first. So I got to make sure the fence is good down here. But the North Woods over there, that's where I was hacking and squirting last year. So I want to get in there and see what that looks like. I'm not going to be able to do much of anything there this year, but I do want to see. I threw seed in there a couple times, grass seed. I believe it was Indian grass. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at my records, but I know there was at least Indian grass in there. What I'm trying to do in there is get rid of these weed trees. There's just a zillion weed trees in there. This was pasture land at one time, and the farmer who used to own this land just let it go in as he got a little bit older. So all these weed trees grew up, the birch and popple and other stuff. And they're right at the point where they're dying off now, which is the point that the other trees would grow up, but the vast majority of the other trees were white ash, or not only white ash, green ash, ash in general, and those have all died from the emerald ash borer. So now there's invasive species and a ton of dead trees and a few scraggly trees that someone might want to keep. But the long-term plan for the whole area is to restore the Oak Savanna that used to be here. There's one of the, it's kind of hard to see it. You'll be able to see it when I get down there. But there's a big Oak Savanna tree right there, but it's grown up too high because of all the stuff that grew around it. So it's not a real good specimen of Oak Savanna, but it's going to be. I'm going to clear around that as soon as I can get to it. This year is just packed with projects up by the house, so I'm not going to be able to get to a lot of this other stuff this year, but I will get to it. This is my daughter's old fort. You can see all this stuff grew up since she put this here, parts of it over there. She's backed up right against the roots of this cedar. Nice little spot, and she used to be able to look out over the area here. Now she's more into boys than forts, so I don't think she's been back here in a few years. This, all through here, is invasive species. All of this stuff. Just a huge tangle. It gets so tangled that even the wildlife can't get into it after a while. This is all going to be hacked out as well. this whole big mess right here. It's a big job, but once it's hacked out and the prairie grasses and prairie flowers take root, then it's going to be much, much lower maintenance. Otherwise, this entire area is just going to be a mess of invasive species. But let's get over here. I want to see what everything looks like and see what I can get done this summer. So, I have this to look forward to. It's a popple, aspen. Yeah, they live a certain amount of time and then just die. It's not a really good tree. There's zillions of these up north. That's what they use for paper pulp and pellet stove chips and particle board and wafer board. So I got to get in here and deal with this. This fell last year, and the horses will walk around it, but it's got to be completely gone so we can get in here with the mower. If you don't mow after the horses are done eating, then you end up with a ton of weeds. So I got to get this out of here completely, and it's not even worth burning, so usually just stack it up or something. Yeah, this woods is just a mess. Mostly dead trees. A lot of woodpeckers though. So I've hacked and squirted in here for a little bit here, a little bit there, but I've been doing it for 2 years now. I've spent most of the time in the other pasture, so I just do this once in a great while. And it is pretty damn clear going through there. We'll walk through there in a second. I just gotta check out this other tree and see what that looks like. But I really should get in with a chainsaw and, take out some of the stuff like that. The sooner this stuff hits the ground, the sooner it rots. And as little trees pop up, I'm just going to take them out. This is all going to be reverted back to Oak Savanna at some point. Okay, so it is still just that one tree. Yeah, this is a good amount of work. It's a couple hours minimum. Really don't have the time, but it's going to happen. The thing is, it's still a little damp back here because this is north and east. So the ground isn't all that firm yet, and I need to come back here with the gator with my gas and saw and all the supplies. I hate walking in, so I think I'm going to wait a little while before doing this. Yeah, I just got to unhook the fence. You drop the fence down to the ground. That one's just a nice little bridge right over the fence. Yeah, doesn't look too bad. This, when we had this cleared, we had it dozed. The first clearing up in here, we had 3 people come. They just did such a bad job, each one of them, But in the end, this is what we were left with. This and another pile over there. You can see it right through the tree. That was it was about 10 feet wide by about 30 feet long and maybe 8 feet tall of stumps and branches and trunks and it took me a little over a year to get that all burned. This I just didn't even bother with. There's a lot of dirt in here, and it's still got all these rotting stumps. At some point, I really need to get a fire going in the middle of there, but I've been waiting until I take out these trees around it, get some of that stuff burned up, and then I'll have to have somebody come back with a dozer and smooth this out. Yeah, I'm back in the area where I hacked and squirted, and you can see that there's a lot of new grass here and there. You can see all them tufts. So it is starting to grass up in here. And if the trees are actually, well, that's actually dead, but the ones that I hacked and squirted, like that one, if they're actually dead and don't leaf out this year, then this should bloom up. Then this should bloom up with a bunch of grass this year. Most of this litter on the ground can just stay. It'll rot out. The grass will grow up around it. But then it's kind of hard to get around in here. So you really want to take some of this long stuff and stack it. And then the animals can use it as a habitat as it rots out. Anything that's pressed into the ground can just stay that way. You can see where I got in here with the brush whacker and hacked this stuff down. Yeah, new grass growing everywhere. Hopefully it's the kind I want. We'll see soon. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I would have grass this spring, but I do. Also had a bunch of stuff fall over the winter. Some of the stuff that was dead before I came in here last year. Yeah, this is going to be a big mess before it's clear. This is kind of a long-term way of clearing a woods. If you look at the videos, I came in here and hacked and squirted. The vast majority of these trees, they're mostly popples like this. Hacked and squirted, and then generally they have enough sap and energy to make it through the year, but they don't come back the next year. So we'll see how they did. So as these all, woodpecker right there, as they all die, they're slowly just going to drop branches, and it's going to look like this, just a big mess with grass growing in between it. So I'll come in here and there and move stuff around, stack some stuff up, maybe burn some stuff, and eventually this will be a pasture. I'm also going to plant some bur oaks and white oaks in here, but very far apart, because the Oak Savanna has big open spaces. Generally, it's not more than 50% tree coverage, but about 25% is about what I want. So you could see the older areas from the first year. You can see how clear it is up there with grass coming down all the way up to here and through there. Pretty nice and clear. So this is all going to look like that in not too long. Yep, but we don't have much time to work on this year. Pretty close to zero time. Got 2 buildings going up, a bunch of machinery to move when I set up the wood shop, and I got to wire the wood shop, and just way too much other stuff. So the main plan in here is to identify any trees that still need to be hacked and squirted. Once they start leaving up, if they leave up, then I'll get in here and take them out. Now I got a bag of seed for the other pasture. I have probably 4 bags like this worth of seed left, and I got to get over today and tomorrow, so I got to toss 2 today and 2 tomorrow, and I just hit the little bare spots. I'll show you when I get over there, and I'll show you the new grass over there too. It's pretty nice looking. We have snow coming in 2 days, so I want any seed that I toss to be under the snow. The snow's not going to last long, but now is the time to get the seed down, not after the snow melts. So, and get the seed tossed before that. All right. Yeah, it's looking pretty good in here. This is a huge project, but it'll be spread out over years. So when you look at it that way, not too big of a deal. All right, let's go up and over into the west pasture. So in this pasture, in the spring, I come around and I just make sure I got some desirable seed. This is extended orchard grass on all the bare spots. And the bare spots are either caused by the horses, the hoof prints, or hoof scars, like this one, or by areas where weed grasses died, annual weed grasses died from last year, and other reasons, I guess, or just stuff died over the winter. But I take several walks a day. Today really sucks because it's windy, so I got to bend down. But normally this seed the orchard grass is pretty heavy. It's a small seed, but it's pretty heavy, and it drops it dead where you drop it. So you just, like, it's not windy now, I can go pretty quick and just drop seed into little bare areas, and then I step on it as I'm going by. But you can see all these little tufts here are orchard grass. A lot of this might have been seeded from last fall when I put down seed. This is a weed right here, and that's why I want to get seed down. The more orchard grass you have grown, or the more desirable grass you have growing, the less of this you'll have. That's an annual, so it needs sun to germinate. So once you have your preferred grass growing in a nice dense mat, the annuals get choked out. And most grasses have some form of allelopathic defense, which is that they exude a substance that inhibits other plants from growing around them. A plant that does that to a big extent is walnut trees. They put out juglone, which is pretty damn poisonous to other plants. But some plants, of course, have developed a resistance to it. So some plants will grow around it, others not so much. So when you overseed in the fall, this is what happens in the winter. You get all the heaving and stuff and the ground cracks. And then in the spring, these close up after a little while. So you get seeds under the surface in these cracks. And they stratify really well over the winter. And the stratification is just the process of being cold for a certain period of time and then moist, and it signals the time for it to germinate. Fall seeding is the best, and I did do that But this is fairly new pasture, so I got to get out here and do this. And this is cheaper than coming in here with a machine. I really couldn't come in here with a machine anyways. There's stumps everywhere. If you watched the channel last year, I don't know how many I took out. I probably took out 300 stumps just in this upper area here. Massive amount of stumps, especially right along the road there. I can see a dozen of them right in this area. So that's my little task. I take my morning walk and toss some seed, and this will be under snow in 2 days. But the snow won't last. We'll have a ton of grass growing here. Yeah, you could see the new grass coming up everywhere. It's going to be a really nice pasture at some point. Well, it's going to be real nice up here this year. It takes a while to get this stuff established. Okay, I'm going to get back at it. Got lots of scars up here. This is where the horses like to run, so I dropped some seed in them, and I'll show you this stuff as it starts growing a little bit later in the year. This should get pretty damn lush. So make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon so you receive notice when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.